Thank you, Wild Ones, checking out another episode of my channel. If you found any value in this content, please subscribe. We give giveaways every 1,000 and 10,000 subscribers, with a big one at 100,000. So for today's video, I just wanted to give some information quickly on safety and how to be safe out on the claims and in general the types of things you have to worry about. So if you're going to be out there digging for gold and doing rigorous work, you need to be honest with yourself about your age and your health and your overall fitness. Because especially if you're out there by yourself, one miscalculation can cost you your life and really ruin a lot of other people's days and cause a lot of trouble. So if you could just be honest with yourself and know your limits, that's the number one thing to do. So in addition to knowing your limits, you should try to take a buddy out when you can, or at least notify friends or family that you're going to be out in the wild doing your gold thing, so that you're not gone too long if you do get in trouble and someone can send for help. Okay, now next we're going to talk about vehicle choice. Now personally, I drive a car, so it limits to where I can go by a lot. And I also have dogs, so I sort of embrace the easy claims, and I only am able to go to the hard ones when I have a buddy or when I'm feeling really adventurous and I take the steps I mentioned earlier. So if you do have a four-wheel drive vehicle and you can get to the harder to reach spots, you want to still be cognizant of the location's inherent dangers. For example, this links to another concern, that you need to check the weather before you go out, because in a lot of these areas there's flash flooding and narrow canyons that can easily whisk you away and cost you your life too. So be cognizant of the location that you're in and the weather that's upcoming. I can tell you from personal experience, the location is not always the easiest to judge until you get there. One time I was driving towards a claim, and it was about 10 miles off of the main highway, and when I got on the gravel road, it all seemed okay, but the further I went down it, the deeper and deeper and softer the gravel got, and I found myself having to drive faster and faster just to prevent myself from sliding into the gravel and being stuck out in the middle of the desert. So it was one stressful moment, and I finally got turned around and had to fly back out of there. So be careful out there. So those are a few of the basic things you need to concern yourself before going out and searching for gold and getting yourself into trouble. But let's talk about a few of the critters that you might run across. Generally, as long as you make noise, the critters will leave you alone. That's why when you're out jogging quietly, that's why these people run into cats, and the cats get their the prey predator response triggered by that running, and that's why there's accidents that happen. So if you just make noise while you're working, even at night, the critters will just stay away generally. So that's the number one rule: make noise. Alright, and so the critters that you'll run across are bears. Bears are really no danger in California. You just be making your noise and they'll leave you alone. They're just little bitty black bears anyways. They only a mother with her cubs would present any trouble. And like I said, make noise. So similarly dangerous, more of inconvenience, is the skunk. Skunks, I mean, they're not going to hurt you. They could hurt you chemically if you got a direct spray in the face, but again, as long as you're making noise, skunks, not a big deal. Okay, and then there's the big fear of the mountain lion. Now, mountain lions absolutely could kill you if they wanted to, and really a bobcat could if it wanted to, because they're just so tough. And I have looked it up. Statistically speaking, you're more likely to be attacked by a bobcat than a lion, and basically the chances are really low. It'd have to be a sick cat really to attack a human, or like I mentioned earlier, the jogging quietly through the woods can trigger that biological response. So be careful of the cats. But like I said, these critters so far aren't too dangerous, but they're just ones to be aware of. So what safety video would be complete for minors without mentioning the rattlesnake? And this thing is the fear of us all. and it goes without saying that it can kill you. But what you need to be careful of with the rattlesnake is the sunny spots in the morning. So you need to protect your shins from being struck while you're out there walking around, and you want to protect your hands with the gloves, nice thick canvas gloves, while you're moving rocks and cobbles, and that'll protect you from being struck by a rattlesnake too. Now, there's two things that you really have to be afraid of and respect when you're out in the nature. And these come up every time you're out there, not like a cat or a bear. And these two things are poison oak and ticks, the two most dangerous things a prospector, in my opinion, come across, because it's every time you go out, and each time it could be severe damage to your body. Now, the poison oak, the way you deal with that is you wash up after every dig session, and you try to wear gloves and just be aware of it. That's the way you deal with poison oak, is through cleanliness and not wiping your head and your eyes while you're working, things like that, sort of like working with hot sauce. So poison oak, boy, it can get you if you're not careful. And don't think that it won't get you if you don't see it, because when you're digging and you're classifying dirt, it's in the powder that gets in the air and on your legs. So it's really everywhere, especially in the early spring. It's something I seem to forget about every year, and that's why I really wanted to mention it here. So about the ticks, now these are probably the most dangerous things that are out there, because they're so prevalent. They carry so many diseases and bacteria, and no one wants to have Lyme's disease. So the way you fight ticks is using DEET. All right, you may not like DEET, but it works. All right, you want to get the DEET on all your openings and really just put it everywhere you can stand to put it. And those ticks, they have a way of crawling into the most crazy spots under your armpits. You'll start to feel them one. Or what if you get a tick on your back and you can't reach it? That's a problem. So just wear the DEET. So besides the ticks and the other bigger animals, we've got brown recluse and black widow spiders that are the most dangerous spiders that I could think of that you might want to pay attention to. And wear your gloves while you're moving your rocks. Similarly, there's scorpions of many types out here in the desert and in the mountains, and they can sting you. Some are pretty bad. Usually not going to kill you, but they sure would cause you a world of hurt. So buy yourself a good tent. Don't leave your shoes out at night. Make sure things are nice and packed up to keep these little critters from causing you a bad trip. Okay, wild ones, I hope I haven't scared you too much, but just enough to keep you safe. And along the lines of keeping you safe, I remembered two other things just to throw on top, and that's the fact that you need sunscreen and protection from the sun, like a good hat, and you need eye protection when you don't want to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere and have a big shard of rock go into your eye and have to drive out with one eye. So wear your glasses, wear your gloves, and wear your boots and your shin protection, and just stay safe out there. I hope you all learned something from these tips. Now, the last critter that we can talk about being a danger out there is the human. So your parents are the ones that should have trained you on how to deal with them. But all I can say is use the golden rule, treat people with respect, and even though you may not want to talk to people when you're out there because you're trying to get away from them, just go ahead and be friendly, give them the time of day. I'm not saying ruin your day, but you just need to be friendly to get along with people out there of all different types. So that's my advice on the human critter. So the last thing I want to talk about, and just as crucial as all of the others combined, is water. You've got to have water when you're out there, at least 2 gallons a day when you're digging vigorously. But that presents a problem because water has significant weight, and nobody wants to carry that water weight around. So I'm going to leave links to some good, cheap, and more expensive life straws on Amazon in the description. So if you found these tips and advice helpful to keep you safe while you're out digging for gold, I'd appreciate your subscription, because that's what this is all about, growing the channel and spreading the little bit of knowledge that I've gained. And I'm trying to keep these videos short and succinct to the point. So I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best. Have a great day, wild ones.